Hello, Keith Rucker here at VintageMachinery.org. So back out at the museum today. It's Saturday, my usual day for working, and I have to say that today is a much nicer day than we had last Saturday when I was out here trying to get some things done. As I said last week, it was about 30 degrees when I came out that morning. It warmed up a little bit, but it was just one of those cold days. The wind was howling outside. It was overcast, no sun whatsoever, and it was kind of spitting this mixture of mist and snow flurries. We barely ever see snow flurries or any kind of snow down here. It was just a cold, wet, raw, nasty day, and it got the better of me, and I really didn't get done last weekend what I was hoping to get done. So we're going to get back on that and finish up a few of the things that will get us very close to being ready to fire this puppy. So anyway, we're making progress. Today it's a bright sunny day. It was about 37 degrees when I left the house this morning. It's warming up quickly now that the sun's up and things are warming up. And the weatherman says we're supposed to go up to 67 degrees Fahrenheit, which is about 20 degrees Celsius for you metric guys out there. So it's going to be a beautiful, beautiful day. And I've got a little sweatshirt on now, and I'll probably be shedding this as it warms up a little bit throughout the day. So game plan for today. First thing, we're going to do the little modification here I talked about last week. I've got a piece of square tubing here that's the same material that this hinge was made out of, courtesy of Charles Marlin, who actually made the hinge for me. I contacted him, he put a piece in the mail to me and sent me some of the same material this is made out of. But we're going to weld this on the top, and then coming off of this, we're going to have two rods that come down to each side of the lid that will help lift it up. So when we lift this, this whole part will come up, and it will actually, instead of putting all the pressure on the hinge back here, we'll be grabbing it by the side here and pulling it up as well, which I think will again greatly improve the overall strength of this. So that's going to be step one. Step two, we've got to make a little modification down here where the air goes into the furnace. We're going to have to put some refractory around it, mainly just for support for this piece that comes in, and we'll talk about that when we get to it. And get the hook fabricated for the handle for the lid. And I think once that is done, we're going to be pretty much ready to maybe start putting some fire in this thing and warm it up. So I've still got a little bit of work to do on the burner, and that'll probably be another video before we actually fire this. But we're getting close. We're getting real close, guys. And I'll say this too. I know you guys are like, man, just get it done. Let's get it done. January and February each year are probably, and even into March, that late winter, early spring is my busiest time of year at work. I do a lot of traveling during that time. It's what I call our meeting season, and it seems like I'm on the road almost every day. A lot of it is local travel. You know, I run out, drive somewhere, come back home that evening. Some of it is flying out of town, but it's really been rough on me this month to have any shop time, and even on Saturdays when I usually come out, a lot of them, particularly with my shop construction going on simultaneously here, just haven't had a lot of time to work on stuff. So anyway, it's slowing me down, but guys, this is a priority. I'm ready to get this finished. We're going to get it knocked out as quick as we can, but bear with me. You know, I'm having to do this little piece here, little piece there. I'll also say once again, with my modifications that we did last week, wow, a lot of comments came in, a lot of opinions. I'm just going to say I'm sticking with this design, guys. I've done a good bit of research. I know a lot of you guys are talking about expansion and contraction and the metal heating up and the refractory heating up. I've done a lot of research. I've talked to a lot of people. I'm listening to your opinions, but I'm pretty comfortable with this design, and we're going to give it a try. And if it fails miserably, we'll have to deal with it, but I really don't think that's going to be the issue. I think we're going to be good to go. This design of this furnace is not something that I invented on my own. You know, I guess it is in some sense, and I'm not making an exact copy of someone else's furnace, but I've borrowed ideas from lots of different people's furnaces out there. And you know, the things with the metal rings around the refractory and all that. This is a tried and true method that's been used on many furnaces, and it works. And I'm just going to go with it, and I think we're going to be fine. I really do think we're going to be fine, because there are other examples out there that have held up well over the test of time, and I think we're going to be good. So, and I will just leave it at that. So enough talking, let's get to work. All right, we'll go ahead and tack this in place, and then put a weld around it. Some of that paint burning off. That looks good. We're going to go ahead and hit those sides as well. That looks good. We're going to go ahead and hit those sides as well. All right, I'm happy with that. So I've got a fairly thin piece of rod material here that we're going to use for our support arms. And first thing I need to do, I've got it kind of going down here. We're going to work on shaping this like we want, but first I want to get this up here kind of tacked in place, because this is kind of the linchpin for the whole thing, to get this in here, and then we'll get everything else where it needs to be. So I'm going to go ahead and probably just tack it in place real good right now, just in case we need to move it. I think I got this where I want it now, so we'll go ahead and kind of tack it in place as well. So I think I'm real happy with my whole support here now. I think we've got the hinge well mounted. The pressure's going down to the base. We got gussets in the side. We got this piece here where it's lifting it from the outside instead of right here on the hinge. Everything looks like it's working real well, so I'm happy with how that's looking. And we're going to pretty much call this done. I think the next thing we're going to do is get our hook mounted over here to grab this. I got to figure out exactly where to place it, and we're making progress. We're doing good. Let's work on that hook. So I'm going to put my hook here for the handle. So I went down to the blacksmith shop a little bit ago, and I had our blacksmith out here at the museum hammer me out a hook on this piece of metal that we can mount here to the side of the furnace that the handle can come around to, hook and catch. So, but one thing I want to kind of pay attention to here, again, we've taken into account in the design of this some expansion and putting expansion joints in here. I don't want to weld this to the top and bottom of this, because it will again make it where it might hold everything in place, and I want it to expand. So we're only going to weld it on the bottom, and in the top I've got just a little piece of tubing here. We're going to weld a piece of tubing on the side. This will drop down through the tubing, weld to the bottom, and then if this thing moves up and down, the hook, you know, is going to be able to float in the upper part. So I think that's going to work fine. So first thing I need to do is weld this in place. So we'll start by just tacking this in place. Make sure that's more or less straight. Like that. All right, I think we're fine there. I don't tear it off. All right, that's welded in place. I couldn't see that back side too well. It's not as pretty as the front side that I was facing, but it'll hold. That's the main thing. All right, so the next thing I need to do is determine exactly how high I want this hook to be. Find something to mark that with. All right, so pull this around. Probably somewhere right along in there. I'm just gonna mark this up here. All right, I like it. Let's weld that in place real good. Just one more time. Come around, hook. Voila. I like it. That's going to be just the trick. And that will float. The lid top will go up and down with that if need be. So I think this is going to be my last little bit of welding here, but one other, I think, real good idea that some of you guys commented on was putting a holster on here to hold my handle when it's not in use. So when I'm storing this, it's on the furnace and not floating around, so it doesn't disappear as easily. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to weld a little piece of tubing here that the handle will just go down inside of, and hopefully it will keep it from disappearing. So I see I need a ground before I try starting to weld. I think that'll work. Let's weld it in place. All right, again, it's just a place for that to hold. It can flop around in there. I don't think it's going to come out. And just give you a convenient place to hold it. Pick it up, hook it around. So this is going to be my burner piece, and we're going to do a separate video about this, but basically, just real quickly, the fuel's going to come in the end. We're going to have an air coming in this end, and there's a burner and stuff that goes up inside this, but basically this burner is going to fit up inside the hole that we put into the casting and come out, or into the furnace, the refractory, and come out like this. But the thing I don't really like about this is we've only got a very thin area in here that is supporting this pipe. In fact, I may even put a metal flange out here to kind of hold it up. But one of the challenges is, we're going to be wrapping this with insulation, and this tube's going to be going in and out, and I really want to have that tube extended out solid all the way out to the end. So what I'm going to do is basically put some more refractory around this area here. It's just going to be just a little kind of U-shaped thing, kind of look like a mouse hole there. But that's what we're going to do. So to do that, I need again to have something to form that. So I've got the same piece of acrylic plastic that we used before. I'm going to put it back in here, and we'll use this again. And let me go grab my refractory, and we'll probably go ahead and start putting that in there. So just like before, I'm going to take some Crisco and just lube this thing up really good. Hopefully, this part actually came out pretty good before by doing this. So hopefully that will help in the removal here in a little bit. So I'm going to put this in. That's pretty good. And the refractory I'm using is not the same stuff I used before. This stuff comes in a little tub. It's pre-mixed, chimney sweep furnace cement. It's a refractory material. It's rated up to 2,700 degrees Fahrenheit. And for what I'm doing, I mean, it's not rated as high as the refractory on the inside, but remember the hot side is going to be on the inside. This side on the out, it's got some insulating factors in here, so we're not going to be getting to the same temperature as the inside. So 2,700 degrees should be plenty. I actually use this same material right here in my smaller furnace that I use for doing aluminum and brass. So it should do the job just well. It's kind of stiff, which is what I want, because I'm just going to basically come in here and mold this around this tube, about like Play-Doh, and get a good area around there and let it cure. All right, we'll just let that cure. Well guys, this will be another wrap. I think we've pretty much got the furnace itself ready now to be cured out. So I'm gonna be on the road again for a little while. So we're going to let this refractory material dry for at least a good week or so. It'll be at least that long before I'll have a chance to come in and actually start curing this. Still got a little bit of work to do on the burner itself. That'll probably be a project for next week after I get back from my trip, and get it ready to go. And hopefully here in a couple of weeks, after we get the furnace or get the burner going, we can put some heat in here and start curing this thing out. So anyway, with that, we'll talk to you guys later.